All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone who's joining us. If we have any parents and caregivers here, thank you so much for being here. My name is Audrey Rowan. I am the registered dietitian for Bluebird Day, and presenting with me will also be Bluebird Day's dietetic intern for the year 2022, Ana Castaneda. So thank you again for joining us. Let me go ahead and bump through. As we sort of go through this presentation, I'll bump it over to Anna real quick just to introduce our pre-test questions to keep in mind. Go for it, Anna.
Yeah, so I actually came up with 3 questions. If we can just kind of have these in the back of our mind while we move through the presentation, and it's just to give you guys a better understanding of the topics that we're going to cover today. So the first question is, what is the recommended serving size of fruits for kids ages 2 to 4 years old? The second one is, what is one important benefit of incorporating fruits and vegetables into your child's diet? And then the last one is, how is constipation affected? So feel free to take down any notes if you'd like. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box or stop us at any time during the presentation so that we can address your questions. And then at the end, we'll go over the answers together.
Yes, we will go over the answers for sure. Thanks, Anna. And yes, we do need to know all of these questions off the top of our head for the RD exam, but not everyone here is planning on taking that, at least, not anytime soon. Thank you again for joining us. And as Anna was mentioning, we're going to be talking about the benefits of fruits and vegetables for young children, and we're going to be getting very specific. Obviously, everyone knows that fruits and vegetables are great things to include, but we're going to be talking about the exact serving sizes that are ideal for preschoolers and kindergartners. We're going to be talking about the best sources of fiber to be looking for when we want to target diarrhea and constipation, because yes, they are two different fibers that can target those two different very opposite ends of the constipation spectrum. And we're going to talk about ways to include more fruits and vegetables for our picky eaters. And we're going to have time for questions at the end. And we'll go through your presenters real quick. For those of you who are just joining us for this Beyond the Nest presentation, thank you again for coming. My name is Audrey Rowan. I am a registered dietitian. I'm licensed in the state of Illinois. I also worked as a behavior therapist for a few years before coming to Bluebird Day. I've been with Bluebird Day since 2017. Personally, my favorite food is pasta. And my earliest food memory is when I was an itty bitty kiddo. I was reaching up to the kitchen counter and I saw something red and I was so excited because I thought it was watermelon. It turns out it was a tomato, and that was a very unwelcome taste. And I kid you not, I avoided tomatoes for the next 5 years. So it can happen to anybody. And I'll bump it over to our dietetic intern, Anna. Go for it.
Yes, so my name is Ana Castaneda, and I have my bachelor's in nutrition. I am a dietetic intern, and I have been interning with Bluebird Day since January of this year. My favorite food is sushi, and my earliest food memory I have is helping my grandpa hide brownies from my siblings. Whenever we would make brownies or just go to a restaurant and order brownies to go, we would always hide them from my siblings because we didn't want anyone else eating them besides us. So that, brownies are my favorite dessert, and that's my favorite memory I have of him. So
I love that. I don't know. Food just sparks some of the coolest memories. I just love it. Thanks, Anna. All right. So as we go through this presentation, I want everyone to keep in mind that what your child needs, for all you parents and caregivers, it really depends on the child's age, their biological sex, their physical activity, and any diets we're trying to follow to accommodate any allergies or dietary intolerances that we come across. As always, please contact your child's pediatrician with any concerns, and please feel free to talk to your Bluebird Day team so that we can best understand what's going on at home and how we can best support your child when they're at Bluebird. And the first couple slides, I'm going to again bump it over to Anna to talk about the benefits of fruits and vegetables.
So what are the benefits, right? So the fruits and vegetables give the body a lot of benefits, but some of the most important ones are they provide nutrients such as potassium, which helps regulate and keep your blood pressure in check, and folate, which keeps your heart healthy, fiber, which helps keep yourself regulated when you go to the bathroom. Vitamin A aids in keeping your eyes and your skin nice and healthy, whereas vitamin C aids in helping your wounds and cuts heal faster and keeping your teeth and your gums healthy as well. And then antioxidants help basically give the cells in our body strength to fight off chronic diseases. And fruits and vegetables also enhance your child's growth and development and improves your child's body ability to fight off various diseases and infections. And then a high fiber diet also prevents constipation, as mentioned. And then some of the recommended serving sizes that we have for fruits and vegetables is different for kids and their ages. So for fruits, for kids ages 2 to 4 years old, the recommended serving size is 1 to 1.5 cups. So as you can see here on the image to your right, we have 1 cup indicates if you take your hand and you make a fist like this, then this is like 1 cup, right? And then half a cup indicates using, like your other fist and using the 2 fingers, your pinky and then your ring finger right here, and just combining those, and that indicates a half cup. So this is a good little table to reference back to when you aren't sure, if you don't know, what a cup looks like. And then for kids ages 4 to 8 years old, the recommended serving size is 1 to 2 cups for fruits. And then vegetables for 2 to 4 years old is 1 to 2 cups. And then 4 to 8 years old is 1.5 to 2.5 cups. And this is per day, not per meal. And so there's also some factors that contribute to kids not wanting to eat fruits and vegetables. And one of the factors is food neophobia, which ranges from 2 to 6 years old. And basically food neophobia is the fear of not wanting to try new food. So, when kids don't recognize the food that they're used to eating, they, tend to shy away from it. And there's a higher chance of them not being interested in eating that new food that they're being introduced to. And then research has also shown that kids tend to eat more fruits over vegetables. And that's because, fruits are a lot sweeter in flavor, whereas vegetables are unpalatable, or they just seem like unappetizing to kids, so they won't become as interested as eating that over fruits. And then child's taste perceptions are also different from parents, so their taste preferences and their taste buds are different. So that's also something to be mindful of. And I'll go ahead and move it to Audrey.
Thanks, Anna. That was amazing. And if this picture doesn't sum up life sometimes, I don't know what does. Constipation can really be affected by so many different things, especially with our kiddos that we tend to see at Bluebird Day. It can be affected by toilet training. If we're resisting going potty on the toilet, we tend to withhold our bowel movements, and that can be something that really prevents our progress in terms of eating different foods, becoming more relaxed at meal times, and reducing the risk of constipation. Sickness can also be a huge factor. If we've got a tummy bug, which I know some of them have been going around the different centers, unfortunately, that can influence our constipation status as well. Fluid is another big one. We tend to think of fiber intake and constipation and regularity as something related directly to fruits and vegetables. It can be, but fluid is another really big factor, which can either improve or honestly the opposite effect. It can harm your child's ability to pass poop and go to the bathroom regularly. And so we want to think about the right kind of fiber. What are we trying to target here, and what's something that we can do to improve the child's experience on the potty or in the diaper, depending on our toilet training status. When we have diarrhea or very loose stool, the goal is to bulk up the stool to give soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is different than insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber, which makes the poop more solid, as it were, those are things that can be found in oat bran, barley, nuts, seeds, beans, apples with the skin on it specifically, and strawberries. Versus when we have constipation, the goal is to make the stool more liquidy. It's supposed to move more quickly through the GI tract. And that can be improved with insoluble fiber. That can be found in things like whole wheat, whole grains, wheat bran, vegetables, specifically carrots. I don't know why that one stuck out to me, but it always does for some reason. So when we think about, well, what kind of fiber do we want to include in our child's diet, it's important to know that these different foods can have a different impact on the child's bowel movement status. So that's important to be mindful of when we're thinking about, well, what foods do we want to add to the kiddo's diet? This is going to have an impact. And when we think about adding fluid and fiber to the diet, there are more ways to do it than just drinking water, eating fruits and vegetables. Even though, yeah, sure, that's the goal. Another very functional way of doing that, especially for our kiddos, one of my favorite ways to do it is through popsicles. I love making popsicles. And you can include different ingredients to them. V8 fusion smoothies. They've got some sugar in it, but they do have full servings of fruits and vegetables that can be frozen into these popsicle molds. They're very easy to find on Amazon. And even if you have an ice cube tray and a few straws or a few popsicle sticks, feel free to blend up or even just freeze some fruits and vegetables, put them in the ice cube tray and stick a popsicle stick in there. Freeze it overnight and you're ready to go the next day. It can also be very helpful in regulation. If a child is really amped up, overregulated, a nice calming popsicle stick might, with some ice on the end, maybe even a frozen fruit and veggie in there, could be a way to help. No. And another good way to go about it is baking them in. There are things like carrot muffins, bao steam buns, I love those, zucchini muffins, even black bean chocolate chip muffins. I mean, really, the internet just offers up such a wide variety of options. If your kiddo's a fan of baked treats, these are options. And honestly, carrot muffins go so well with a cream cheese frosting. Oh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. And another good way to add some soluble fiber to these is specifically try using insoluble fiber is by using whole wheat flour. You can also add flaxseed or chia seeds or different kinds of seeds that we mentioned in the first slide. You can also add applesauce in place of butter or milk. There are lots of alternatives you can do. Feel free to reach out. We'll have our emails at the end and let us know if you need any tips or tricks into getting your kiddo to eat these yummy treats. Another good way of doing this by adding fluid and fiber are reusable veggie pouches. One of our speech therapists at North Center, her name is Andrea. She's absolutely wonderful. She just bought these the other day. And I was thinking to myself, holy cow, why didn't I think of this? Because so many of our kiddos love those applesauce pouches, right? But it's more difficult to get them to eat with a spoon. Like spooning the applesauce is just a little more difficult, requires just that little bit more effort. That's something we're working on at school. But if you find these reusable pouches on Amazon or another online retail store, super easy to make a fruit smoothie if you've got a blender. Add some chia seeds, some wheat bran, some flaxseed. You can add water to it. You can add juice. You could even add coconut water. You could get crazy here. And you know what your kiddos' taste preferences are, and feel free to mix and match too. There's no one set recipe you have to follow. Get crazy, have fun. Another good option is including them into cooked ingredients or offering them in snacks. And while, of course, exposing kiddos to fruits and vegetables is extremely important, and I think should be a very regular part of your routine if you're looking to improve your kiddos' diet, another good way of boosting their vitamin and mineral intake to target all of those qualities that Anna was mentioning earlier is to cook them in or to offer them in your snacks and dinners. Veggie pasta sauces are a great way to sneak, quote unquote. I don't know if I really like to use the term sneak it in because you're just adding ingredients at this point. You're not trying to conceal anything. You're just trying to give it a pasta sauce, right? There's pasta sauces, mac and cheese. There are also organic applesauce and carrot and apple and spinach pouches. Goldfish even makes crackers with a full serving of vegetables baked into it already. So there are definitely ways that brands are getting real interesting and getting real sneaky with all of these ingredients, but they're out there. So I would encourage you to do some digging on your child's current preferred snacks and preferred foods and finding ways to maybe tweak those a little bit or see what they're comfortable with. See if these could be options for you and your family. Moving right along. And of course, when all else fails, when we're really trying to go to the bathroom, sometimes medications and over-the-counter medications are necessary and very helpful too. They're high fiber for kids is one of my personal favorites. The taste is actually pretty okay. It has a very strong orange flavor to it. So I would recommend if you do end up getting this one, try adding it to some fruit juice first and see how they like it. Another option is Cultural Probiotic for kids. It offers probiotics and fiber. Probiotics offer different benefits than actual like insoluble versus soluble fiber does. Pro and prebiotics are meant to stimulate gut bacteria. They're meant to sort of take the existing bacteria that's there, make them stronger, and move things along your child's GI tract more easily. So they are important to include as well. But when your child is on Miralax, if they're ever on like a bowel clean out or anything like that, always try and add it to clear liquid. It's not quite as effective in milk as it is in juice or in water. And as always, please discuss these options with your kiddo's pediatrician beforehand. Make sure that they're good options and see if maybe food comes first over medication. But if medication comes first, no shame in it. They work wonders. And as always, when we think about picky eating, we need to keep in mind that feeding really is an iceberg. What we see on the top, right? We see the behavior, we see the feeding, what's going into the mouth or not going into the mouth or getting thrown across the room at you saying, heck no, I'm not going to eat this, whatever it is. But what's going on underneath the surface is, are the kiddos' organs and their muscles all connecting to move the food down slowly and steadily? Are the senses all gathering together at an appropriate rate? Are we dealing with sensory overload or maybe sensory underload? I don't know where this bite of food is going in my mouth, so I'm not even going to try, is a very, very real possibility. Also, our learning style. Do we learn to eat by watching other people? Sometimes yes. Sometimes no. And is development impacting our ability to chew and swallow correctly? Nutritionally, are we at a good level right now where our body can take chances and eat a new food where it may or may not be uncomfortable to digest later? And of course, our environment too. So even though feeding is what we see, there are so many other underlying issues that impact our ability to eat and to enjoy a meal with our families. And so for our Bluebird kiddos, the responsibilities of the parent and the caregiver does change depending on your kiddo's engagement and developmental level at the table. Going back to this feeding as an iceberg, there are some things that you can control, and there are some things that are beyond our control, or some things that we're still learning about our kiddos to understand what can help them most to eat the most variety at mealtime. When we think about what we're serving our kiddos, that's something we have control over, right? We are able to serve them different kinds of foods, and we can offer them broccoli at every meal if we really want to. But when you think about what we're offering our kiddos, it's important to understand that there are steps to eating, which we follow very strictly at Bluebird Day. We go all the way from base level, tolerating being in the same room as a food, all the way up to eating the food. And in between those 2 levels are interacting with, smelling with, touching, tasting, and then eating. And if your kiddo is on the autism spectrum, there are even more steps involved. So some kiddos may bump right from base step 1 all the way up to step 6, no problem. Other kiddos may need a little bit more time. And some kiddos may benefit from a process we call food chaining. The picture to the right is a really great example of food chaining, and it's from a wonderful Instagram, if anybody has Instagrams out there. Feeding Picky Eaters is a wonderful site to follow. And this is a great example of going from, if our kiddo loves potato chips, but we really want them to eat a fruit, a banana is a perfectly reasonable food to expect them to chain on to. But we go from potato chips to maybe a different brand of potato chips, to maybe dried banana chips, to then frozen bananas, and then nibbling on it and learning to eat a whole banana. Again, if you have any questions or any concerns, or if this is like sparking some ideas in your mind, reach out to your Bluebird Day team, your speech therapists, your occupational therapists, and your developmental therapists, even physical therapists will all be wonderful resources for you to find out what foods your child will respond to and which maybe to hold off on for now. When we think about when we serve food, that's another thing we have control over. What, when? When we serve food is important too, because ideally we want to keep up with those mealtime schedules, right? We have breakfast now, we have snack now, we have lunch now. Obviously, every day can look a little bit different, but if your kiddo's having a hard time waiting for dinner, understanding when a new food is coming, schedules are a wonderful thing to include. A first then visual, like you see above you, even visual timers can be a really helpful tool for your kiddo to understand when food is coming, what food is coming, and to help kind of ease that transition into mealtime a little bit more. And if you need any support with these schedules at home, your BCBAs and your behavior therapists are wonderful people to reach out to. We've got visuals like you wouldn't believe. And then finally, you have control over where you serve the food, what, when, and where. Your child is responsible for whether or not they eat the food and how much they eat. But what we do have control over really does influence whether your kiddo participates in mealtime or not. What we want to aim for in terms of where we serve the food is we want to make sure above all else that the position is 90, 90, 90 for all you geometry people out there. You want them to be seated at a 90-degree angle at their hips. You want their knees to be at that 90-degree angle, and you want their feet to be supported somewhere down below. That can be achieved like at that picture you see in the top left corner there. This kiddo, if he was sitting in this chair normally, I mean, this is an adult chair. If he was sitting like this, his elbows would be up here, the food would be like over here somewhere, and he'd be kicking his legs and he'd be like, God, this is really hard to sit in. I'm just going to abandon ship, right? That's not what we want. This parent here in the top left corner found a little kiddie chair to bring under the table so the kiddo's feet are supported. They also found a way to support his seat in the chair with a little booster seat. Great options. The high chair to the right is another good option too if your kiddos are on the tinier side, or art tables. Folding tables, they're great ways to include kiddos in mealtime at a lower height, getting those little art chairs in so that their back, their butts, their feet are all supported with very minimal work. And if your kiddo's having a hard time staying seated at the table, making the table engaging is a great way to increase their mealtime participation. This can be done through cute little alphabet placemats, or they're even like truck toy placemats. There are easy peasy plates. I love these. These are the bottom middle corner, as you can see there. We love to use mirrors at the table. This can also be a great tool if your kiddo is maybe on the hypo or under sensory processing type, where, okay, we're taking a bite and we're watching ourselves eat. Where is the food in your mouth? And can you move it to this side? Can you move it to this side? Can you spit it out? Yes, that's an option. And visual timers are another great way we like to encourage participation too. And so wrapping it up here, I will bump it back to Anna, who will go over our questions at the beginning. Let's see how much you remembered. Go ahead, Anna.
Okay, so if anyone can remember what the recommended serving size of fruits for kids ages 2 to 4 years old, feel free to put it in the chat box, or if you'd like to just shout it out, we'll take about 30 seconds.
Thank you, Jennifer. You're close.
Very close. Okay. All right, 5 more seconds. 1 to 2 cups, Alva.
So great to see you.
Okay, so I'm seeing a half cup, 1 to 2 cups, 1 to 2 cups, 1 to 2 cups. So the recommended serving size for kids ages 2 to 4 years old is actually 1 to 1.5 cups. So we were very close. So right, 1 to 1.5 cups. So again, just remember if a cup indicates, 1 fist, and then a half cup is just, adding these 2 end fingers right here. Okay, and then the second question is, what is one important benefit of incorporating fruits and vegetables into your child's diet? So we'll take about 30 seconds to answer that question. Okay, let's move on to the answer, Audrey. So some of the important benefits is it helps our bodies fight off diseases and infections, and then it contains important nutrients. Like we said, vitamin A, vitamin C, fiber, right, helps regulate the digestive system, right, and provides important nutrients. Thank you, Alva. And then, so right, the important nutrients we talked about were vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium, fiber, folate, and antioxidants. And then our last question is, how is constipation affected? We'll take about 30 seconds to answer that one. Okay, let's move on to the answer, Audrey. So we have toilet training, sickness, fluid, and diet and fiber is how constipation is affected.
These are some of our sources that we've included here. Please feel free to take a screenshot of these if you ever need any additional support. And right now I'll open it up to any questions, comments, or concerns. And again, say a huge thank you to everybody who came and participated. Alva, I feel like you've earned like an honorary PhD and that like you should be presenting this, really. Thank you all again to everyone who participated. Any questions, anything we can answer for you guys right now, please shout out, let us know.
Hi, this is Miranda. I just want to say thank you for all the helpful tips. I really like the idea of the popsicle because my little one, he just refused to eat fruits and vegetables. So I'm definitely going to try that.
Amazing. Let us know how it goes too. I mean, sometimes kiddos can be averse to the frozen style of things, but sometimes it takes a few tries. Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I see Jennifer came. Oh, and we have a question about, I came in late. Is this presentation going to be available on the website? I believe it should be available eventually. Aiden might be better at answering that than I am, but yes, we'll be sure to get this to you somehow. Thoughts on style of eating, family style? Excellent question from Jennifer. Okay, Aiden said it will be on YouTube. Yay. Okay, thank you. So thoughts on styles of eating, family styles. I mean, family style, of course, is like, I feel like the gold standard that everybody kind of aims for. But sometimes it works and sometimes it just doesn't, you know? Sometimes a kiddo does really benefit from, you know, being able to sit with, I mean, honestly, I know everybody like hates those iPads at the table, but like really, if that's what's helping your child regulate and participate at mealtime, for a lot of families, sitting at the table with an iPad is a goal, and that shouldn't be disrespected at all. If that's a way that you're encouraging your child to sit and be present at mealtime, I say go for it. But style of eating can vary from family style. Like as you were saying, everybody kind of serves themselves. If your kiddo likes to be sort of at the, I don't want to say the center of attention, but like if your kiddo likes to be the teacher and really likes to say, okay, everybody, it's time to scoop your veggies, you know, praise it, love it. Absolutely keep it going. If your kiddo's a little bit more shy and is a little more reserved around food, it's okay to let them sort of be a participant and maybe encourage them to serve themselves as much as they can. But I would say the best way to encourage mealtime at home is whatever is functional for you and your family. And if you need tips for, again, how to brainstorm on how to make it a little smoother, again, contact your Bluebird Day team. My email is going to be at the end of this, along with Anna's as well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email. And let's see. Oh, my kiddos love the popsicles. I'm so glad. Thanks, Sonia. Thanks. I found a muffin tray with small portions of food has helped encourage variety. Yes. Oh, I love those little muffin trays. It separates the food, right? So your kiddos can kind of go in and grab them with like, you know, kitchen tongs or sort of like the larger, like tweezers isn't the right word, but like, you know, absolutely. That's something that can be an option too. Great idea, Jen. On a muffin tray. I love it. Thank you, everyone. Those are wonderful. We'll leave another 2 or 3 minutes for questions, and then we'll close it out. And these are our emails. If anybody needs to take a screenshot, copy and paste them, please feel free. We are available to answer any and all questions. Again, always contact your child's pediatrician if you have any questions or concerns, and reach out to your Bluebird Day team. What else do you suggest on how to prepare veggies? Excellent question. Veggies can be prepared in a variety of different ways, right? You can steam them, you can blanch them, you can bake them. Used to eat veggies, but now he's getting picky. Yes, definitely. That we used to eat a lot of foods and now we're getting picky is a super common theme we see, especially in kiddos at this age. Your taste buds are starting to develop. You could also be going through a developmental shift at this time, which means we start to kind of think about the world a little differently. How we interact with vegetables is different than the way we were used to when we're young. It's like, all right, mom and dad are spoon feeding me now. Great. All right, cool. Yep. And in we go. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, I have to make the decision about what to put in my mouth and what not to. This is new. That doesn't look very appetizing to me. So I'm going to steer clear of that. Definitely super common to experience that as well. So there are definitely different ways on how to prepare the veggies. You can also air fry them, make them a little more crunchy. I would think about what your kiddo enjoys from a texture perspective. Typically, kiddos really enjoy the dry, crunchy foods from like a new food or like a returning food perspective. So are we more a fan of dry, crunchy foods? If that's the case, I would maybe try some dry fruits or vegetables first. And again, just work on tolerating it. Maybe sprinkle it a little bit, turn it into dust, put it on your top lip, make it into a mustache, and then work on smelling it, licking it, whatever. Any positive interaction with a new or returning food is a good step forward. Any questions? Anna, before we close out, any suggestions on your end on how to prepare veggies or, oh, good, air fry and dry foods. Oh, good, I'm glad. Any other ideas on your end, Anna? Honestly, I haven't been in a cooking class in a while. You have a little more experience than I do.
All those suggestions were really great, but something else that came to mind was probably being open to helping them prepare fruits and vegetables around the house, and whenever you're cooking, helping them chop fruits and vegetables is also a great way so that they can be a little more interested in and being open-minded to trying new fruits and vegetables or different foods as well.
Yes, excellent. That's another great tip I completely forgot to include in here. Trying to include your kiddo in the cooking process. It's been so long since I've been in a food lab. Thank you, Anna. I've done an internship. Definitely encouraging preparation tips from on your end. There are ways that you can sort of pre-portion out the foods a little bit so that you can dump them instead of like, okay, it's time to chop exactly half a cup. It's like, okay, we have half a cup prepared. It's in a little bowl. Okay, can you help maybe pour the carrots in? Can you help maybe chop the spinach with a wavy chopper or a kid-friendly knife of some kind? Those are excellent tips too, Anna. And all of a sudden, put veggies in soup. Yes, put veggies in those soup. Thanks, Miranda, for the feedback. Thank you, Anna. Oh my goodness, I completely forgot to add that tip. I am calling myself out. Thank you. All right. Well, if those are all the questions we had, then I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you so much again to everybody who joined. Thank you, Anna, our co-participant. Definitely try smoothies and popsicles. Yay, I'm so glad. And let us know how it works. Seriously, we're looking for feedback. Thank you all, everyone, so much for participating. Great to see all you returning faces. And we hope to see you again at our next Beyond the Nest. And again, follow up with your team with any questions, comments, or concerns. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Audrey and Anna.
Thanks, Alma. Boys.
Oh, no, same here. It was a great presentation. Needed the reminders from my little one, who is actually eating more vegetables now. So excited about that.
Awesome. Great to hear.
Oh, give him a huge hug from all of us. Yes, go little one.
Yes, so we got up to green beans, spinach, and kale.
Stop. I mean,
besides the carrots.
Your cooking, like you talking about it left me salivating. Like, oh, I'm so glad. Good for you guys. I'm so happy.
Yeah, and he's more of a savory than a sweet kid, so vegetables actually work for him so that's how it is. Yeah, so I'll take it. But thank you. This was a great class, and thanks everybody. All right, take care. You all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.